learning environment in a class. First, a teacher needs to be a diligent observer. The process of learning is not important just for its end result, but the process in itself is equally important for nurturing human values. It helps students comprehend the value of collaboration and communication. So while the students are working in groups or doing any activity, the teacher should ensure that the students are not hesitating in asking for any help or clearing their doubts with fellow students or the teacher. Make the students celebrate lacks and mistakes, both theirs and of the fellow classmates, as mistakes or shortcomings are not the sign of incapability, incompetence, or being unintelligent, but rather a sign of progress. No one knows it all. The teacher, after carefully observing each and every student's performance, should also know how to capitalize on their strengths and weaknesses. A particular student loves a particular task, let the student do that. It is because he or she finds more meaning in it. A particular student is distracting the other activity partners through his or her cell phone. Give him or her a task to look for some specific facts in the phone. Now, let us discuss the play of communication in the role of a teacher. Communication depends on two people, sender and receiver. Both have to be vigilant and carefully listen to each other in order to ensure smooth flow of the two-way process so that a fruitful exchange can happen. Therefore, listening is not only the responsibility of students but also of teachers. Second, never misperceive or judge students on the basis of their different styles of communication. For example, there are some students who don't think before talking, and while some who talk in bullet points. Yes, no, okay. They are basically interested in facts, figures. The two cases just mark a difference in approach and not interest. Third, the key to build healthy relationships with your students is communication. It is also a vital component for a teacher in helping students polish their various non-academic skills. Let us discuss the play and importance of communication through an example of feedback, which in itself is a very important responsibility of teachers. Now, the basic ways of giving feedback are: first, direct. You should not have done this. You should have instead written this. You have not read much. You're absolutely wrong. There is lot of scope of improvement. You need to improve your handwriting. This method is absolutely incorrect and will not fetch you any marks. Result: you have offended the student or have completely destroyed his or her confidence. The first will lead to a disagreement or even an argument, and the second might lead to even more dire consequences of the student never returning to you for assistance. Second way is the indirect feedback, which is definitely polite. Like, some points here and there, overall good, little more hard work. You can come out with flying colors. Next time, I'm sure even the method will be right. No, this will not work. Rather, this feedback is the most dangerous of all. The students will never be able to understand that he or she still needs to review his or her work. So what to do? Probably, we can hone our communication style and go this way. First, ask a polite question. Can we discuss this assignment sometime? I have more ideas about this work. Can I share them with you? Remember, let them own their learning. They are not kids. They have decided to study the particular subject for higher studies and we all, as teachers, know our young adult students like choices. With the suggested questions, they will get a feeling of autonomy and a sense of equality. Students like to be equal participants. Now comes the second step. Be specific. For example, if it is about language, don't say it's a wrong or a bad way of writing. Rather, point out the particular sentence and correct it. By doing this, the student will get to know where to improve and what to improve. Third, tell the student the larger consequence of his or her mistake. For instance, how just one step led to the entire sum getting wrong, or just a simple tense mistake changed the meaning of the entire answer. Fourth and last, don't miss to ask for their opinion about their own mistake. If they think something else than what you have suggested could have been a better solution, let them speak it out. Stir their mind to understand their mistake and learn from them. Make them enthusiastic and curious about their own work so that they do it better. Right way of communication helps a teacher to connect with the students. The next important role and responsibility of a teacher is to ensure a democratic setup in the classroom. India is a diverse and multicultural land. What sustains this diversity is the social acceptance and assimilation. Nonetheless, at the same time, there are certain variables that divide students into small and restricted groups. For example, ethnicity, socio-cultural backgrounds, educational backgrounds, gender, physical challenges, strengths, shortcomings, learning pace. A student at times doesn't even realize that he or she has started perceiving and presenting things by being influenced by some of the stated diversities. Unfortunately, and probably unintentionally, these variables sometimes start playing a role in defining worldview about relationships and public and private space. So, in a nutshell, we can say that the diverse variables have a subtle or at times a stark influence on the social behavior of students. This leads to the dangers of stereotyping and ethnocentrism. Stereotyping is a false belief triggered for a particular group of students because of insufficient knowledge about others' background. Ethnocentrism is to believe in the superiority of one's own cultural group, which leads to discriminations. But in the global world, when in future students will have to work in diverse environment, handling diversity in a learning room becomes an important factor for a collaborative and elevative learning. The first thing a teacher can do to promote inclusion, that is, to accomplish oneness and equality for all the students in a class, is to identify the degree of differences existing. That is, the teacher has to first recognize each and every difference existing in the class that is responsible for any kind of cultural exclusion. This can be done through any simple activity where there is a need of different groups or teams. Let the students first choose their partners or group members. Your role as a teacher is to study these groups for all kinds of cultural categorizations. If any divide or prejudice is witnessed, then either you can introduce students to one another and highlight the social cultural realities of students' backgrounds or plan some activities. Identify specific learning objectives and aims of a particular topic, and then design tasks that are pitched at a lower or a higher level to address the issue of heterogeneity. If you think you have students who have different levels of perceiving and thinking, then give them different content to engage with and learn. Offer them new ways to look at a topic. Represent the content in various ways, that is, in audio, visual, or text form. Also, let them choose the way they want to articulate their understanding in, that is, either orally or by writing or through discussion or an enactment. Let us take an example of a specific topic. For instance, if you want the students to understand the realities of class and caste divide in India, then you can first let the students listen to a report on caste and class discrimination existing in any educational or professional sector of India. On the basis of the read report, ask them to think about the discriminations that exist in their near vicinities. Then, form a diverse group of maybe 4 to 6 students and ask them to draft solutions for such discriminations. Second way of doing this activity could be, some students can be asked to listen to the story based on discrimination, any story based on discrimination. After they have listened to the story, ask them to discuss the basic theme of the story. Then, let them express how would have they felt being discriminated. Make them discuss the context in which discrimination happens. Third way, rest of the students can be given photographs showing class and caste divide. On the basis of the photos, ask them to discuss the reasons for such kind of discriminations. Put questions like, who suffers when discrimination is practiced? Do you think discrimination can be resolved? Fourth, and for some exceptionally active and enthusiastic learners, you can conceptualize a project on the living conditions of people residing in slum cluster. Ask these students to find their source of income, food habits, health and sanitary conditions, educational opportunities, and also let them suggest ways of improving the conditions of the people they are researching on. Through the given example, a teacher can deal with the diversity based on learning pace, physical disabilities, and socio-economic factors, and can engender respect in the students towards these differences. And also, all the 4 discussed activities can include use of technology and audiovisual aids. Another activity can be that during this partial lockdown phase, when resources are limited, teacher can engage students of different social backgrounds together to devise ways to combat the crisis of the availability of limited resources. You can also ask them to discuss their point of views about different policies that the government has been using to deal with the crisis, and then draft a completely fresh policy for the Indian citizens on the basis of their own understandings and experiences. The activity will help students to learn about each other's experiences and realities. They will be able to clear many misconceptions that they have about others' situation or place in the society. An understanding and sense of mutual respect will be developed in them for different social realities. Accomplishing inclusion is not at all a difficult task, as we just need to make our students understand that the social, political, economic, and even physical factors that those seem to constitute our identity for the society are not fixed. Identity is just a role play, and while playing this role, it is all up to an individual to select the desired role. One can choose to be a football lover, a brother, a friend, an enthusiast, a person who loves to eat, a traveler, a fan of Amitabh Bachchan. Give them the opportunity and task to understand that identity can be constructed outside the boxes of social parameters. Let them describe themselves through their interests, skills, hobbies, emotions, passions, and aspirations. Teachers also have to be conscious of using language that is not discriminative. Being aware of prejudices and restraining oneself from perpetuating them also ensures an inclusive learning environment. Coming to the next role, it is said that a happy atmosphere intensifies learning. Methodologies like counseling, mentoring are very important to build up a stress-free environment which further ensures a smooth and good learning. To ascertain fruitful learning, we need to be considerate about the reality that students also have their own difficult times. Their extreme behaviors, anxiety, fear, violence, anger, disinterest, rigidity, resistance, stem from the feeling of being stuck or some kind of stagnation they are going through in their life or being stressed about something. In such times of hardships, we need to enact various roles of a counselor, a mentor, a guide, and a friend. Building an environment of trust in the classroom is the foremost thing that a teacher should do. This inculcates a sense of mutual care and trust in the students. A student feels free and comfortable to share his or her opinions. Be a friend and counselor to your students. Nonetheless, being a counselor does not mean giving advices and solutions to the students, as we even do not know all. All of us are not professional counselors. We cannot have solutions for all the problems. But yes, after patiently and actively listening to the students, we can help them see the various dimensions of the issues raised. Also, assist your students in building resilience, that is, the ability to bounce back in the times of stress. Doing so is often the beginning of the solution to their problems. In brief, these are the following things a teacher can do to support students to spring out live from the problems and related stress. Let the students know that they are not the first one to be experiencing a problem and consequent trouble and stress. Next, as the Dalai Lama said, if you have no compassion for yourself, then you are not able of developing compassion for others. So encourage your students to see the good in themselves. Ask them to count their strengths and do not let your students self-criticize themselves in the weak moments of stress. Instead of just seeing the wrong and bad happening in their life, help them express gratitude for all the good opportunities and circumstances they had and have in their life. Next, tell them that the problem and the resulting stress should not be taking the good of them. If they are overburdened, then let them know that sometimes perfection is also an enemy of progress. Assist them to make realistic plans. Help your students to see the various resources and opportunities available to move ahead. Let them find a meaning and purpose in their existence. Next, prompt your students to reflect and introspect so that they can dare to take a courageous leap from their problems and stress. Speaking it out is also a big source of relaxation. So first, be a good listener and then talk to the students to let them understand their problems. What circumstances created stress? How did it affect them? How did they react? Why did they react in that way? And then gradually ask them to patiently reflect not only on the wrongs that happened because of the problem, but also on what experiences and learnings they acquired during the period of problem. Surely, they will realize that process of dealing with the difficult situation has left them with some new learning and made them bit more resilient and stronger. Sometimes, as it is rightly said, a change of perspective is all it takes to see the light. Now, to talk about mentoring, we all know that mentoring comes in a package with teaching responsibilities in higher education system. Mentoring ranges from curriculum-related issues to helping students understand various career options available. Another substantial role of a teacher is to contribute to the overall personality development of the students through extracurricular and non-academic activities. Teachers can constitute various societies, committees, and organize following programs and activities. First, student-centric business competitions. These will help students to learn to follow the guidelines and at the same time will give them the space to apply their ideas in the real world. This will bring out the urge to do something on their own into force. Second, debate competitions. They help to hone communication skills. Students not only learn to express themselves clearly through them, but also to connect with other people by listening out to them. Third, various other competitions, which can give students the opportunity to learn to know the humdrum life of the markets awaiting them, be it meeting deadlines or targets or handle pressure. Fourth, problem-solving tasks. They let the students apply their vast knowledge and experience to solve a situation. The ability to understand the various issues corresponding to the problem by breaking it into parts is enhanced by such tasks. Fifth, different departments can organize various student-centric activities such as special lectures, interactive sessions with alumni and known personalities, interdisciplinary projects, projects based on global issues that involve students from different disciplines. These activities involving varied learners help to inculcate team spirit. Students learn to accomplish a task even when working with people of different personalities and backgrounds. They also understand significance of different skills required in a teamwork. Sixth, equip your students to help the marginalized sections of the society. Conduct outreach programs in collaboration with NGOs or any other outside industry. Such ventures will inculcate a sense of social responsibility in students and make them aware about the dynamics of the changing socio-cultural aspects of everyday life, along with comprehending the various needs of different people. It will also make them understand the diverse skills different people possess. Last but not the least, don't ever forget, anything other might change or transform in the education system, but the relationship between students and the passionate teacher will always remain the foundation of a successful classroom.